I don't normally read these citations, but I asked to read this one. The recipient of the Yale Divinity School Award in Theological Education annually goes to an individual whose scholarship, teaching, or leadership and contributions to vocational formation for ministry reflect the best of B.D.is traditions. This year's award goes to an individual who not only embodied this award, but whose career defines it. An alumnus of this school with a Bachelor of Divinity in 1967, and of Yale University with a PhD in New Testament in 1972, he had a distinguished career on the faculties of 5 different institutions, including this one, where he served as a Lance Professor of Christian Communication for 15 years. For 11 of those years, he also served as the Academic Dean or Associate Dean. And in fact, I think he's the only person to be given the title Academic Dean without qualification. Ordained an American Baptist minister the same year that he graduated from Yale Divinity School, he served as a senior pastor for 3 churches across the country and as theologian in residence for Trinity Presbyterian in Atlanta after he retired. A prolific author and speaker, his nearly 20 books reflect his passion for relating scholarship to the lives of contemporary Christians. The titles of his book reflect his commitment to bring scholarship to the church. What's good about this news? Preaching from the Gospels in Galatians, based on his 2001 Beecher lectures, or Fact and Faith, coming to grips with miracles in the New Testament. The 12-volume Feasting on the Word series that he co-edited has been a staple for many ministers. He has also had some video stardom. He did a DVD series of conversations with Harry Attridge that we call the Yale Bible Study Series, used by churches and individuals alike. The spirit of his work and his articulation of it are encapsulated in a statement that he made in Reflections magazine. I quote, "I have spent most of my adult life trying to understand the shape of the Christian life from a biblical perspective. Of course, I have never used the Bible as a kind of sanctified Dr. Phil with answers for every nagging personal question." I can just hear him say that. The Bible has served as the essential guide to what questions count and the essential clue to how those questions relate to the life of God. We proudly bestow the Distinction in Theological Education Award this year on David Bartlett. His son Jonah is here to receive it.
I'll only take a second because quickly you'll realize all those designations were not for me. What I would say, one thing, is that if you don't know, my dad fell ill just 4 months ago, and we lost him just about a week ago today. And I lift up this community for the care that they have taken for him, for my family, and especially for my mother. I'm going to take a cue out of my dad's book. When he retired from Columbia Seminary, which is a little gig after this, he had a few minutes. He went to Columbia Seminary, and they had a tradition there that at the end of the professor's last class, the whole group of folks, the whole group of students would come in and applaud them and send them off. So at the end of his last preaching class, the whole crew came in and they applauded and they were prepared to send him off, and they turned to my father, who was a man known for his word, And he gave them just 4 words, which I will share with you, which he spoke to Columbia, but I know which he speaks to Yale for all his time here, and which we now say to God on his behalf because of his life, because of his legacy, and especially because of his love. And what he said was, finally, it's all thanks. Thank you.
Do not let the attempt to make religion personal make religion private. Do not let the attempt to have Christ speak to the self let you make religion selfish. Do not let the church baptize greed as if God's great mission were to fleece the sheep and not to feed them. Do not take your hands off the world God has created and continues to create and strives constantly to redeem. Think justice, think fairness, think economics, feed the sheep.
I don't think I ever saw the man in bad humor. He was perceptive enough to see the strengths and weaknesses in all sorts of people, but good-natured enough that he would always take a charitable view of it. And he had a wonderful way with words.
How a text meets the needs of the people, how it speaks to a contemporary congregation. But I think as Bible students and as preachers, we lose it if we simply say, here's what the text means to me, with no sense of what it meant in its earlier context and what it's meant through the life of the church.
Show us how, show us
David's brilliance as a teacher was clear to me from the very beginning. David instinctively knew how to understand the context within which he preached and how to apply Scripture to the needs of the congregation.